in the River Valley. Strong thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms firing up from Van Buren, Fort Smith, south into Greenwood and Poteau, Waldron, and then even south into Mansfield and Midland. We want to give you live coverage of these storms where we're getting gusty winds. We've got some hail, and now because of those winds, we have power outages. Last check, we have about 2,400 power outages from OG&E customers, mainly in Leflore County around Poteau, where we had some gusty winds, 60 miles per hour. These are going to continue as these storms just use up the heat and humidity that we've been building throughout the day. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. We have 3 active severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's go one by one, north to south. Right over Fort Smith, there's a new one coming into the Kerr Reservoir there on the southern shores of the Arkansas River there in Sequoia County. But the first one, right over Fort Smith, Van Buren, west into Moffett, Clipping, Roland, and Muldrow. Most of the rain's right there over the Arkansas River bottoms there in Pecola, right into the south side of Fort Smith. We've got very heavy rain, but a lot of times on the leading edge of some of this rain, we've had some huge gusty winds just pushing right through the river valley. And so this severe thunderstorm warning is going to last for another 20 minutes or so, as the heaviest rain's mainly from downtown southbound along Wheeler and Towson, and then right towards the pavilion there on the south side where the car dealerships are. We've had some pockets of hail as well. Most of these storms, whenever you see kind of the darkest, deepest red, is where we've gotten some small hail. Hail hasn't been the biggest factor in these storms. It's been that wind. Remember that storm that we had in Paris that we are still cleaning up from? Those 60-mile-per-hour winds, even stronger than that at times. These are storms that are very similar. We've had very strong gusty winds push throughout Leflore County, coming into Sebastian too. On top of that, we've got a flash flood warning for southwestern Scott County because a lot of this water just continues to fall over the same locations as these storms sit here. The storms aren't moving very fast, but the winds that they produce are moving pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and step off to the side. I need to go ahead and zoom out. We've got the hail tracker up, and eventually we're going to try to get you some pictures and videos as well. Real quick, let me show you where the hail is, and then we've got some new videos and pictures sent in by you guys. We've got some hail on the south side of Fort Smith coming into Hackett and Pecola. Some of these hail pocket sizes are reducing. They're more like pea-sized hail, but still coming down in a big way. Rock Island headed east towards Riley Farms there on the southeast side of Fort Smith. We've got another hail pocket right over the Kerr Reservoir and the Arkansas River bottoms there towards the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge. And then south into Leflore County, mainly the hail is dissipating, but we've got a lot of gusty wind, and it's that wind that's really kicking us this evening. We've got strong winds pushing into Barling, Fort Chaffee. Anywhere you see some of the brighter greens and brighter reds, you're not talking about rotation. What you're simply talking about is gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour, and we've got that huge gust of wind that just blew right through us in Hackett, blew it through us in Pecola. This gusty wind pocket is coming into Greenwood right now, and eventually it's going to be coming into eastern Sebastian County. So right there along 22, Bloomer, Lavaca, gusty wind coming in for us. Eventually, Alma, we may get some of the gusty winds too. See this in Barling, this bright green? This is headed north and east. It's going to be crossing the Arkansas River, headed right towards you guys in Alma, and maybe even clipping Mountainburg too. And then north into Van Buren, we could get some of that gusty wind. We've had some winds here and there, but boy, we've got some crazy gusts across Sebastian County and Leflore County. We've got some pictures and videos that we guys want to show you up. This is hail coming into Poteau. You guys hear it? You see that wind accompanying with it. This is coming in from Dalton. Thank you for sending it. Boy, do we need that rain, right? You see how brown everything is, but looks like we've got anywhere between pea to quarter-sized hail, about quarter-sized hail coming right down there. It's hard to say with the camera moving a little bit, but good chunks of ice coming from the sky, and that wind has been knocking out power in throughout Poteau. And I know it's getting cooler now, but hopefully we can pick up power here very soon because we've got more heat on the way. This is a look also from Poteau where we had those gusty winds that just descended over Kavanaugh Hill and then came right into town. You can see this tree limb there on the ground as well, and then we've got more power outages. Look at that. This is the Burger King. This is right there in front of Walmart. You can see the power line down right there. They're off Broadway, but you can see heavy rain and maybe even some pockets of hail there too, but then a lot of power outages continue. Do we have the latest check on how many power outages at this moment? Just over 2,600. So this is a map. You can see the reds, I mean, that's showing you where the rain is, but we're zooming in there right where we've got the most power outages in and around Poteau. Most of these OG&E customers, I think this is OG&E map, but lots of power outages from Heavener north into Howe, Podo, Shady Point, and Panama, where earlier we had those gusty winds. The problem is it's hard to get to some of these right at the moment because it's just raining so heavily. We'll probably get more pictures and video here soon once the rain comes to an end, but you see that red, that shows you where the heavy rain is falling right now after we already got some of those gusty winds. But it looks like we've got another gust coming south right now, crossing the Arkansas River. This white line's the Arkansas River. We have a gust that's moving from Muldrow and Roland and headed south into Fort Coffee and Spiro. This is going to be coming right over 271, where we already had some of those gusty winds earlier. In fact, we had that microburst that just exploded and pushed gusty winds out everywhere. More gusty winds coming into the southeast side of Fort Smith, there from Barling and into Rogers Avenue as you're crossing over 540. Got, man, those gusty winds really kicking us this afternoon. Let's zoom out a little bit. You see how it's just a mess with all these reds and greens. So we don't have a tornado threat, but what we have are just gusty winds that continue to push on out. It looks like we're starting to get a break in Podo from the wind, but the heavy rain is continuing for us. And heavy rain's going to continue for a while. This gusty wind is now kind of moving. Let's see, let's kind of place this here. Greenwood, we've got the wind coming in for us. Catcher 444, 447 for Lavaca, and 450 for Bloomer with more of these gusty winds. How these things work is that they're very sporadic. Imagine you've got pockets of wind in several different towns blowing in all different directions. They all start colliding with one another. But if you live anywhere in Sequoyah County, Crawford County, Sebastian County, or LaFleur County, and Scott County, although things are weakening in Scott County, that's good news for us, you're going to have winds and they're going to switch directions. They're going to pick up sporadically, and that'll be the case for the rest of this evening. On top of that, we've had some hail as well. Looks like we've got a good piece of hail coming down Old Jennyland Road there on the whole Old Highway 71. You got Bonanza Road getting some of this hail too. Sherwood Avenue headed towards Mount Zion and Cottonwood Place. But this is very near Riley Farms, just between Fort Smith, the south side of Fort Smith, and Greenwood. Greenwood, be on lookout for some hail trying to come in towards Elixir and right into the west side of town. Old Jennyland probably going to be picking up hail here very shortly. We had some hail in Hackett, but it looks like the hail threat has gone down a lot for us in Podo. That's good news, but boy, the heavy rain is coming down and hitting us hard. Zoom out a little bit more. It looks like we still have hail there over the Kerr Reservoir. But a lot of these were thanks to microbursts, where you have this huge pocket of rain coming down and then just gusting out. In fact, I think we have new pictures and video too. This was in from Roland. See that wind coming in? It feels like you're in a washing machine, kind of on the edge of a hurricane for a quick second or two. Man, that gusty wind really hit us. That's the one that we were watching. We were watching that microburst come in and just wind spreading out all the way around. The trees just wisping around. Very gusty conditions there, even moving the ceiling fans and rotating them even though they're off. This one's coming in from Lonnie Snow. We appreciate you sending this in. And on top of that, the heavy rain is hitting us, right? But you can see the waves in the rain as it hits the ground and then moves across the land there. The bird feeders barely holding on, the tree limbs trying to hold on for dear life, but that's what 60-mile-per-hour winds will look like. Let's talk about a wide view of what's going on area-wide, anywhere from Bella Vista south into Waldron. So a lot of us are not getting thunderstorms. You're thinking, when am I going to get a thunderstorm evening? Well, let's talk about where they are right now and where they're headed next. Right now, anywhere from Van Buren and Fort Smith south into Greenwood and Podo, Pecola, Cameron, south into Mansfield and Midland, Waldron. We're getting that heavy rain in Heavener, Howell, and Hodgen and Monroe too. And then Sequoyah County, we're getting a lot of flare-ups now. This is kind of the new activity that's starting to pop up. Sequoyah County, get ready, because I think we're kind of next as a lot of these storms start to backbuild back towards the west. All right, so let's talk about the Eastern River Valley. Let's talk about Franklin County, Logan County, and Johnson County. We haven't had a lot of activity so far. We've got a lot of clouds right over us. That's helping to suppress some of the heat. Earlier today, this was open territory, and so we had the storms just pop up, and then once you get one to pop up, they all start to pop up. But at least for the next 30 minutes to an hour, I think we're going to be mainly okay in the Eastern River Valley. We could get an isolated storm in Paris, and in Boonville, we're close. Boy, we're getting the clouds, thank goodness, but that rain's just towards our west. And then in Ozark and Charleston, we're dry for a while. All the storms are back off towards the west, and it looks like they're back building westbound along I-40. If you live in Sequoyah County, I think we're next anywhere from Vian, Webbers Falls, into Salisaw, Brushy, Roland, and Muldrow. We're going to have off and on these downpours, and once these downpours get a little bit bigger, they like to really throw out some wind. Northwest Arkansas, things are pretty quiet today for us. We've had a lot of clouds, at least on and off, but some of them are breaking up a little bit. They're west of Rogers, Centerton, Cave Springs, right there over Heifel and Siloam Springs, X and A. We're kind of clearing out just a little bit. But eventually, if you kind of look at this from a wide view, you see this whole cloud mass. What's going on is those are all the thunderstorms just throwing out their clouds, but those clouds are expanding. So we may start to see more clouds come into Greenland and West Fork and Fayetteville and Prairie Grove and Farmington in the next 20, 30 minutes. As we get more of these clouds to push over us, that may protect us from some thunderstorms. We'll watch, but it looks like mainly Delaware or Adair County and into Sequoia County is where we're getting the newest flare-ups at this moment. A couple pieces of good news. It looks like over Poteau, the storm is finally starting to weaken just a little bit for us. But then on the same time, we've got a lot of heavy rain coming into the radar beam there. It's getting pretty messy there on the south side of Fort Smith. We've got 3 active severe thunderstorm warnings right now. We've got one right over Fort Smith, Van Buren, and then also including south into Greenwood. We got the there's a lot of different warnings kind of set up, a little bit messy. And then we got another severe thunderstorm warning that includes anywhere from Panama west towards Callington and the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge there in Sequoia County, northern LaFleur County there, right along the Kerr Reservoir. I want to show you what it looks like outside with our extensive camera network. This is a live look in Ozark. You're looking towards just dark skies off in the distance. This is kind of far from the storms themselves, but you can see just how much cloud cover there is over in LaFleur County. This is a live look in LaFleur County in Pensacola. Let me try to move the camera around to kind of see what we've got going on. The camera's still shaking there. We had that huge gust of wind come in just moments ago. It's starting to get a little bit lighter, but boy, we're still getting it. This is a live look as you're looking towards Salisaw. You got one little glimmer of some sunset there between two huge thunderstorms. Let's go ahead and bring up Rogers Avenue. I want to bring this up because on the left-hand side, you see that downpour there. So you're looking northbound. We've got heavy rain kind of developing along the Arkansas River closer to Van Buren right now, a new pop-up, and you can see that heavy rain there. We've had some rain there at Rogers Avenue and 540, that interchange. You can see the headlights back on cars as they kind of come in and out of these downpours. Once again, these are going to be very sporadic. They like to move on their own accord, and that's going to be the case for a while. Let's take us back to Pensacola now. You're looking directly north, and you also see some of these little cloud pieces that are just kind of hanging here in the distance. That's just all the humidity. You're almost producing a fog because we're just putting out so much water, and it's not really being soaked into the ground very well because things are just so dry. This is a live look as you're going towards Fort Smith. What you're looking at here, let me get my annotation thing out in just a second. You're watching the heat and humidity actually rise up into the cloud and just dump a lot of water as it just surges into the cloud, and then we get it with some of that hail pocket as well. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in. 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. Muldrow, Roland, Fort Coffee, Pensacola, of course Fort Smith, especially the south side of Fort Smith. And then it's kind of filling in right along 71 and Riley Farms, Hackett there, and Excelsior and Greenwood. We're about to really start to get some of that rain. Burnville, we're going to be getting that heavy rain at any moment. A lot of this is coming right back at us on 71. We already had some rain on and off today, but a lot of heavy rain coming into Midland and Huntington and Mansfield, Hartford, West Hartford. They're westbound into Monroe and Trestle Ford getting that rain too. Poteau, the rain is finally lighting up for us, and once the rain lightens up a little bit more, we'll be able to take a closer look at some of the damage from some of the winds that we had. Take a look at this. This shows you all the hail that we've had so far. Throughout this afternoon, some of the main pockets of hail right over Poteau and Kavanaugh, and then we had some of that hail in Shady Point in Panama. We've had some hail all around the old highway 271 as you come into Pensacola and Cameron. They're just north of Bobo's and headed north. There you pass the Catfish Barn, that's kind of where you're talking about right there. And then headed northbound into Sequoia County, right in Roland and Muldrow and Moffett, especially in Moffett, we've had some large hail. Anywhere you see that darker blue is roughly where we're getting at least quarter-sized hail, sometimes even up to golf ball-sized hail in some of the biggest chunks. We've got probably some golf ball-sized hail earlier just north and west of Waldron. So this is basically kind of taking a composite image. You've taken a bunch of images over the past hour or so of the hail, but let me show you where the current hail is right now. I'll loop this over the past 15 minutes. Looks like we have one main pocket coming down Riley Farms, south side of Fort Smith, headed south towards Poteau Mountain. Here's Poteau Mountain. See the darker green? That's Poteau Mountain. We're watching this complex. They're probably just staying west of Greenwood. I mean, it could meander a little bit, but it looks like most of this hail is going to be headed south, maybe just staying outside of Greenwood. We're getting the wind in Greenwood on and off throughout this evening, but this hail pocket headed south. It looks like the hail is really reduced in size in and around Fort Smith. You guys got something? We got a power line down in Poteau. I think we've got an image as well. Let's bring that up when we can. Okay, see this one completely snapped in half. So you're looking back towards the southwest. You're going down Broadway, you're headed towards downtown. What a mess. I mean, it looks like a spider web of those power lines. You can see the heavy rain. Look how much heavy rain's there on the road too. And you can see it kind of filling into the ditch there, right off of that car dealership that's there on the right. This is very close to that fruit stand that they've got there, there on Broadway. But power lines are been snapped. We're going to get even more images here very soon, but you can see with that water that it's still raining in this picture. And so once the rain finally comes to an end, Ryan, also thank you for sending this in. We appreciate you. Hopefully you guys stay safe when you're taking some of these pictures, but man, it's heavy rain coming down, and it's just pooling because it just can't soak into the ground fast enough. The water's coming down too quickly, and the ground is so dry that it's having a hard time soaking it up. But once again, thank you for this photo. This is probably going to be a very common experience across Poteau this evening, as we've got those power lines that have been snapped. And once again, the power pole right there by the Burger King there on the north, or it would be the west side of the Walmart Supercenter. That one's completely down. It's right by kind of that gas station, that Walmart gas station there, the Murphy. So lots of wind. Those are just a sampling of some of the photos. Remember earlier this week, of course, we were in Paris talking about all the power outages there. It looks like Poteau was one of the strongest hit areas this evening. We've had some power outages going off some social media reports and rolling. And also, if you're joining us specifically on YouTube or Facebook right now, go ahead and comment. We've got some crews monitoring some of these chats, but you guys are excellent at putting in some of those damage reports in for us. Make sure you keep putting those in. We'll be able to send them off to the National Weather Service, and those are areas that we can send crews out to take a look at some of this damage. So make sure you go ahead and put those in the comments there on YouTube and on Facebook. But this hail pocket that we're still watching, this is the only significant hail pocket that we have at this moment, is in western Sebastian County, coming out of Fort Smith. They're very close to Riley Farms, but especially on the west side, and headed south towards Poteau Mountain, hopefully just staying away from Greenwood. Let's go ahead and show you some wind as well here in just a moment. Let me see. I had my kind of show lined up a little bit earlier, so it's kind of going all over the place. Wow, look at that. What you're kind of looking at, think of raindrops hitting a smooth body of water and how it ripples out. That's exactly what thunderstorms do. We got a huge microburst that we were watching live on air right there at 4:30. Hit us near Pensacola and Spiro, and then you can see it all fanning out. We've got a strong wind about to really hit us in Alma, and then eventually probably come north into Mountainburg. But Alma, here in the next minute or two, the wind's really going to pick up. We've got wind gusting out in the eastern River Valley, Charleston. Eventually Ozark, we may get some of this gusty wind too. Mulberry will probably get some of this wind. The green shows you winds that are actually headed back north. They're kind of filling in now. Once you have a wave push out, water kind of comes back in. Same thing with the wind, but wind coming back northbound, kind of feeding this thunderstorm. You see a lot of lightning. Boy, it's been loud for us with that lightning in Poteau. We've had so much lightning and thunder there on the west side of Greenwood into Hackett and Midland and Pensacola. Man, it's been super loud, and we're still getting a lot of that lightning too. We've got some wind gusting out westbound in Leflore County towards Callington. This has been going right there, you know, that stretch of highway where they got the speed monitored by drones and aircraft. That road right there as you're headed towards just north and west of Spiro as you're headed kind of towards the Kerr Reservoir Dam. And then more gusty winds in Leflore County, farther south into Monroe and Huebner and Hodgen. These aren't as gusty as they were earlier, but still some probably 20 to 30 mile per hour winds for us. In Fort Smith, we've got kind of winds swashing around in all different directions right now. Here's a little bit closer view. We've been watching that wind push eastbound, but the rain continues to fall, and that's why we've got a flash flood warning for southwestern Scott County. It looks like the downpours are slowly shriveling up for us in Poteau. Still some very heavy rain over Worcester and Howe and Hodgen, but they're starting to reduce in size. You can slowly over time, they're raining out. So they built up a lot of water, but finally they've got to collapse. And theirs are collapsing right now. But the heaviest rain is right along the state line there from Pensacola, westbound in Sebastian County, there and towards Hackett and Greenwood. Heavy rain still reporting over downtown Fort Smith. in Van Buren. We've been some in the back building too. We've got that severe thunderstorm warning in Sallisaw there in northern Sequoia County. That's continuing as well. And then heavy rain coming into the Kerr Reservoir Dam. What we're going to do is in about 2 minutes, we're going to pause, and then we're going to continue some coverage on Channel 5. Your 5 News at 5. We'll have the latest updates on these thunderstorms. We've got to re-rack a couple things, but I want to show you the severe thunderstorms for another minute or two, and then we'll hop out for a second. But heavy rain continues to fall for us in the River Valley. Not so much in northwest Arkansas. We've been mostly dry, but we're watching those clouds slowly expand area-wide. So we may get cloudier over time in northwest Arkansas, but we're probably not going to get as many of the storms. We're going to continue to watch them really hit us in the River Valley along the state line with Arkansas and Oklahoma. But some of these newer cells are really beefing up here in Sequoia County and right over the dam, the Kerr Reservoir there. Heavy downpours right along Callington and westbound into Vian and Weber's Falls, kind of in our area too. And then in Adair County, we've got a good downpour that's moving south of Westville. This is coming in towards Brushy. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning for Brushy and from Sallisaw north. But Fort Smith, still active severe thunderstorm warning, but it looks like most of the wind is now calming down. But boy, that heavy rain's really hitting us in the fort and in Van Buren and south into Barling and Fort Chaffee. We're getting some of the heavy rain too. Good news for some of those burn spots, those burn scars we had in Greenwood, of course, with that rain coming down. In the Eastern River Valley, Franklin County, Johnson County, Logan County, we're fairly quiet. We clouded over, and those clouds are actually keeping us kind of safe from big pop-up thunderstorms, at least for now. Most of the activity for the next hour or two will be right along the state line from Fort Smith southbound, and we'll continue to watch probably more flare-ups in eastern Oklahoma. We may see some more happen in Haskell County. We may see a few more try to fire up over Lake Tenkiller and Tahlequah, but over time, a lot of these pop-ups will probably start filling in back towards the west. You can see this pop-up too, so that's probably going to be the trend. More pop-ups as you push westbound. Eastbound, we're a little bit drier. We've had a couple of sprinkles there near Knoxville and the Piney campground there, east side of Clarksville in Lamar. Otherwise, it's been an active afternoon for us. Be on the lookout for these pop-up thunderstorms. They just flare up once they built up enough heat. Guys, it's been so hot, and it's going to continue to be hot for the next several days. But I tell you what, the humidity is going to get really bad as the rain continues to fall. Coming up, we'll also have some estimated rainfall that we've had. Some of these storms have been dropping 1 to 2 inches per hour. Thank you for sticking with us. Keep it live, keep it local, keep it here. We'll keep you advised.